I'm Megan Skidmore. For 2.5 years, I have been talking about evolving faith journeys. I started to tire of the heaviness of this focus. I had the clear message come through. It is time for Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast to evolve into Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. With the same vulnerability and unapologetic authenticity, I will be focusing on the joy in this journey, the life and the living that comes on the other side of maybe, on the other side of what's possible. I want to talk about claiming spiritual sovereignty and becoming your own captain of your vessel. Let's celebrate releasing what no longer aligns for you and connecting with your higher power and honor expanding your energy field to make room for all things new. The vibration is high this month on Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. Pretense is dropped and caution thrown to the wind in each interview. I am dropping a new episode daily, spotlighting one of the amazing, soul-led, heart-centered authors of Joan of Arc Publishing, or JOA Publishing, founded by Kira Brinton. Like the namesake for this publishing house, each one embodies the fearless, God-centered spirit left by the legacy of Joan of Arc. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single one. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you might be tuning into this episode of Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast. I'm so thrilled to welcome my friend Mindy Peterman to be on the show with me today. Welcome, Mindy.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited that you are here. And Mindy, you have a unique role, a unique space that you occupy in the JOA Collective and the Mosaic Network, which is the month-long focus of all of these episodes. You're not only an author and a member of the network, but you're also part of the team. And I'm going to let you share more about that later. So
Okay, oh good.
yes, I want your perspective and the insight because you've been with the JOA, you've been with Kira since, wow, the
Since the
beginning, I
beginning.
think, since the
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah. So you have very unique perspectives. So with that, Mindy, tell us all about you. Tell us your story, your background, your family, upbringing, faith, your educational pursuits and whatnot, all the things that you'd like to
Okay.
share. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'll start, I guess, childhood. I was raised in a home with two parents who got married very young, 18 and 20 years old. They came from different religious and family backgrounds, and they both were they both smoked. My dad was an alcoholic, and there
Mm-hmm.
was just a lot of their own traumas in their lives. And when they were in their mid-20s, my mom's parents joined the LDS church, and then my mom and several of her sisters followed suit, and my parents joined, still smoking, my dad still drinking, but they still went forward. And then my dad actually quit drinking when I was about 7 years old, 6 or 7, and never went back to it. And he has been what I call a recovered alcoholic for the last 40 something years, and still has fought those demons, but still fights them and wins, and which is
Mhm.
amazing.
That is amazing.
And so I come from a family that's kind of broken up. My older brother and sister are 8 and 6 years older than me. And then my younger sister's 2 years younger. And then my next brother is 6 years younger than me. So my mom kind of had three families,
Wow.
my parents did.
Yeah, that's spread out.
So I serve as both a middle and an oldest child. Various roles. It's really fun.
You wear a lot of hats. Wow.
I do, yeah. But my parents, like I did grow up going to church, and in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And both my parents ended up quitting smoking in 1985, and we lived in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And in that year, my parents took us 5 kids, and we went to the temple with them. and went through the
Which, for
LDS.
those who are
Who
not
don't
available,
know, LDS
yes.
faith, yes. The LDS faith has temples where ordinances, promises are made with between God and the individual and the family.
Mhm.
And one of those promises, ordinances, is what's called the sealing of the family, which is a spiritual binding of
Mhm.
families to continue on as families into the eternities, in that family unit. Um,
Right,
that
right.
way. It's a promise of eternity. I believe that families still get to see each other and know each other in heaven, regardless of if that happened or not. That's my personal belief.
Hmm.
But I also there's a purpose to the promise of of that. So
It's more between the
um,
individual and God. It's their
yes, yeah,
relationship with the divine and that
yep, yep.
how they're trying to cultivate that. Yeah.
Yep. So that happened right before I turned 10 years old. And then we moved to Mesa, Arizona, August of 1985, and that's where I grew up. So I grew up in, we called it Little Utah because there were a lot of uh, members of the church there. We used to joke that there were church buildings almost as common as Circle K's, like every mile and a half, that kind of a thing.
That's a funny
So,
comparison.
so that's fine. I grew up very just believing. I I'm not a questioner by nature as far as like questioning what I've been told. I actually have more of a personality of, that sounds right. I'm going to ask God and then see if that feels right between me and him. And
Mhm.
so I guess that is a little bit of a questioning nature, but it's more of a trust but verify, I think, is kind of how I live my life more. And
I
I
love
always
that.
have. Yeah.
I
And
love
as a
that.
little girl, thank you. And as a little girl, I was very observant and I lived my life very much. If somebody did something and I saw that there was pain that came from that, either for that person or this person they hurt, I would make the decision not to do that because I didn't want to hurt people the way that I saw people hurting.
Mhm.
And so I was always just very compassionate. I loved reading and I don't know what else did I love as a kid. I loved reading and I loved being outdoors. I loved swimming. Growing
Mhm.
up in Mesa, we had a pool at every house that we lived in. We moved a lot when I was a kid.
Mhm.
And I think that actually helped form my ability to connect with people easily because I had to. I
Yeah.
mean, we moved a lot. So every, so many years, I had to find new friends. So that built a foundation for me of learning how to connect with people.
Mm. I'm learning
So,
so much about the Mindy I know present day from hearing all of this from your youth. Wow, Mindy.
yeah.
So, okay, so that's a great foundation of kind of where you've been. Not that you can summarize by any means anybody's life in 3 minutes, 5 minutes,
Yeah.
whatever. So, so fast forward a little bit, then tell us about kind of where you're at now. Your, I'll let you share how you shared your love of reading.
Yeah.
And so that's very much a part of where you're at today.
Yes.
Um, and all of those things that I heard you say you were very conscientious of the feelings of others and
Yes.
taking note of how they were treated, not treated, and how you wanted to move forward in that way. And also just your way of approaching life, kind of an inquisitive nature, a questioning, wanting to know for yourself and not necessarily relying on external sources to verify something for you personally. So how have you seen that manifest then in your adult life, your present, pursuits and whatnot?
So just a tiny bit of history here.
Sure.
When I grew up, I always wanted to serve an LDS mission.
Okay.
And about 9 months before I would have served a mission, I actually had the opposite experience of almost every girl that I knew. And that was that I was told I wasn't supposed to serve a mission. And I was devastated because that was my life's purpose. I was going to grow up and I was going to serve a
Mhm.
mission. And I had this very distinct impression that I wasn't to. And I was lost because that was what I was going to do when I was 21 years old. I was going to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ
Mhm.
of Latter-day Saints and share my faith. And that wasn't in the cards for me.
Okay.
And part of that was uh, the boy I was dating had gone on a mission, and I was like, great, see you in I don't know how many years because I'm going on a mission too. And then when that happened, that I felt that, I met another guy and he was insistent that I was supposed to marry him. And because I felt very vulnerable because my life's mission wasn't happening, I got engaged to him. And then um, because I just trusted everything and I didn't do the verification, or I tried and I just was getting nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually that did end because I did finally come to a I just really have to like buckle down and work with God and
Mm-hmm.
figure this out. And so that engagement ended, and it was the first experience that I really truly had a life-changing I really need to trust God's plan for my life as,
Mm-hmm.
and not just my own, and really trust but
Sure.
verify my relationship with God. Trust and verify my next steps. And that was very foundational because as my husband now, who was the boy I was dating who went on a mission and then came home, we have moved a lot. And that has really set the tone for our marriage and our life of trusting the next steps, like
That's
moving
great.
with God. And so how I came to be where I am now, which
Yeah.
is I am actually the editor for JOA.
Yes, you
And
are.
so I
You're
get
dang good
to,
at what you do.
oh, I love it so much. And I have such a broad perspective shift happen every book I edit. And the way I came to be an editor actually was I was just kind of in this little job that I'd been in for a long time. And I had felt this need to go back to school, and I did not finish my degree at Brigham Young University. And it wasn't because I got married. I just didn't. I kind of burned out and just stopped. And when I was young. And then in 2018, I felt like this urge to go back to school. And I thought, well, what would I study that's worth the time and the effort and the money and all of that? And I sat down one morning to work, and all of a sudden, I just had I heard this voice clear as day that said, you need to be an editor. And
Mm-hmm.
this like lightning thrill went through my entire body. And it was just this like, of course I need to be an editor. It makes so much sense for me. Why have I never
Mm-hmm.
thought of this over 20 something years? Like I love to read. I always helped my husband through his schooling with his
Mm-hmm.
papers. Like it was just this natural knack for me. And then I learned that Brigham Young University never expires credits. So I was able to apply as a former student
Right.
and
That's
start with
right.
39 usable credits, like
That's
from the
great.
get-go.
That is
And
great.
thank you. And I started in 2019, and BYU had expanded their minor for editing and publishing into a full major in
Oh, wow.
2018. So the summer, the just 2 months before that 2018 semester is when I got the revelation that I needed to be an editor. And I was able to start right into a program that was kind of tailor made for me. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, that's why I had to wait 20 something years. I had to be able to be in the program that would be
Yes.
perfect for me.
Well, I'm noticing your graduation picture. It looks like behind you on your wall, and you
Yes.
have a lei on. Did you go to Hawaii?
No.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
we just got those hung last night. I've been waiting to get
That's
I'm so
awesome.
silly, I know. But no, I graduated from Brigham Young University in the editing and publishing um, degree program in April 2023. And my mom and my sisters and my niece and my one of my very best friends came for my graduation. And so they were selling lace
Oh, okay.
outside the Marriott Center.
Well,
And
that's
which is
great. I love
yeah.
it.
So my mom bought one. My mom and my sisters went in together and bought one for me and brought it to me, and I love it. So
It's
it was, yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So you got your editor, your degree in editing in
Yeah.
2023,
Yeah.
and you and Kira connected sometime around there, or you reached
So
out to Kira.
well, okay, so Kira is actually my cousin.
Yes.
And so we grew up kind of childhood adjacent, really.
Mm-hmm.
She is 6 or 7 years younger than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And her mom is my mom's youngest sister. And so we followed each other on social media because I follow all my cousins on social media. And but we hadn't actually seen each other since 2016, I think. And in 2020 is when she said, "Hey, I'm starting a publishing house on Instagram and I need editors." So I sent her a DM and said, "Hey, I'm going to school to be an editor." She's like, "Hey, let's talk." So we had a Zoom
Awesome.
call like this, since Zoom exploded then in 2020.
Hmm. It
And
did.
she said, I said, "Hey, I'm still learning." And she goes, "Great, I'm still learning how to be a publisher. So we'll just do this together." And I said, "Great, it's perfect." So throughout school, I did edit a few little things while I was going to school. And
Hmm.
then near the end, like the last year or so, Kira's like, "Are you almost done with school? I have a lot of books coming and I really need you to just do this all the time." I said, "Yes, I'm almost
That's
done."
that's hilarious.
I'm almost there. We're almost there. So I hit the ground running. I mean, I
Hmm.
graduated and I already had, I think, two books already like lined up to start editing. And the process did evolve throughout.
Hmm. I'm sure.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so I have been Kira's editor, her primary editor now for almost 2 years. She had some others that she kind of had here and there throughout while I was in
Hmm.
school.
Hmm.
But our energies just really align very well. And my energy with the authors aligns very well. And so it's not just about the technical skill of editing, it's a
Right.
lot about the people skill
Yes.
of connecting.
And I did catch when you were sharing kind of your earlier story that you moved around a lot. And so you got good at connecting with others. And so I see that bridge there, that connection, we could say.
Mhm.
And you are very good at that, Mindy. At the
Thank you.
recent JOA Collective conference that we all got to meet at for the first time in person, that was very evident to me.
Thank you.
Everybody knows who you are and has worked with you in some way, right? If they've written a book or they're in the process of. And so now I'm really excited for you because you are moving into the author space
I
or
am.
going to be. Yes,
Yes. Well, I am in it.
you are in it.
Yes. Yes, the book
Okay.
landed on my heart in May of last year. And so I've been
Okay.
writing
Okay.
it for the last, I don't know how long that is, 9 months, but it's not
Okay.
ready to be birthed yet.
Any
So,
idea when the
um,
birth date might be?
well, so I am also in the Mosaic Masters, and I will be going to the Writers Island as well,
Yes. Me
where I
too.
will be. I'm so excited to be there with you,
Me
and
too.
all of the amazing people that are in the
Going to
Masters. It
be
is just, oh,
It's going
yes,
to
so
be
good.
once in a lifetime.
Ooh, it is going to be so much heart to heart and soul to soul. I'm just
Hmm.
so excited about that. But I will be completing my writing then. I'm still writing. It's kind of ebbed and flowed where I get into this like wild creative space and I just write for several days and then I'm in everybody else's words editing. And so I'm like holding space for that at the same time. And so then my writing kind of takes a shelf for a moment while I'm, you know, uh, working it
Hmm.
within the words and the hearts of my authors.
For
Um,
sure.
so it just
So
kind of,
who's going
yeah,
to edit Mindy's book?
I don't know. I don't know. I have been asked that question so many times at the JOA Collective. I think I was asked that question, I don't know, a dozen times, and my answer was always like, I don't know. Kira has found some other editors here and there to help, like when
Hmm.
my plate is too full or when life circumstances have made it so that I've had to kind of step back just a little bit. And so hopefully one of those will work out. Or
I'll
actually,
I'll
I could
help you out.
thank
I'll
you.
I'll I'll read through your copy. Yeah.
Thank you. I trust that there is somebody who's
Yes.
will be right for me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So, gosh, Mindy, so if you don't mind, I'd like to talk a little bit more about, you mentioned it as somewhat as part of your faith journey, but I'm curious to talk a little bit more about that and maybe where it's branched out into other areas. You mentioned how you have your own belief about, you mentioned specifically families and their
Mhm.
connection through the eternities.
Yeah.
I have found that sometimes, especially as women, we don't necessarily give ourselves permission to own our own beliefs because that
Mhm.
requires hearing, like recognizing that inner voice as your own and being aware, having that awareness. You don't have to compare it or judge it by what you have been taught, external sources, right? Because
Right.
especially when they don't match up, that is
Yeah.
where it can be a really tough place to be in if you have spent your life looking for the boxes and checking them. If you've
Yeah.
pretty much, honestly, I came to a point where I learned I had outsourced a lot of my power, really.
Mm.
You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
And so I'm just would love for you to share how that process is for you. How are you able to get to that place where you understand, the doctrine, the tenets, the rituals and whatnot of the LDS faith, the faith that you were raised in, and yet you choose what aligns for you, and that is what your belief is, while simultaneously honoring that others have theirs. As part of my commitment to giving back, every first Friday of the month, I offer a free coaching hour. Anyone is welcome to join, and you may leave your camera off and change your name if you would like to remain anonymous. This is an opportunity to get introduced to my style of holistic coaching and what it would be like to work with me. Gain real skills, insight relevant to you, and fresh perspective on life circumstances. Each month is a different topic. For those attending, there will be opportunities for a complimentary one-off energy alignment session. Once registered, you will have access to discount codes for my other offerings. To get the link, including all the resources, register to complete the agreement at the link in the show notes.
Oh gosh, I love this question so much.
Good.
So the basis of my ability, I think, to reach out and feel like I have my own relationship with God, the divine, whatever your audience
Yeah.
is
Hmm.
connects with, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Actually starts with my mom. My mom was more the spiritual leader in our home than my father was. And so I saw that strong, like she led prayers and she led, reading the scriptures and she led out on all of those things. And I saw her do that. And so I had this example of not having to bow to somebody else
Hmm.
for that. And so I think I always grew up confident in that I could pray and I could have my own relationship and I could do those things because I saw that in my mom. And so I'm very lucky that way, I think. But my mom, a lot of her parenting, I think, came out of fear. I think a lot of that is really common to you have to do these things or we won't be an eternal family or you won't get to go to, the heaven you imagine or and I don't like fear. So as I grew up, I did do things out of like just rote obedience. But then as an adult, when I had that experience with the ex-fiance where I had to be the one to really get my own answer, that gave me the most confidence to know that I have a direct line and I don't have to rely on anybody else to tell me
Hmm.
what it is. And so I I honor that
Hmm.
agency in everyone. And
Hmm.
so for me, being able to hold space for the doctrines and the tenets and the rituals of the LDS faith, I'm still active in the church. I still, um, all of those things. But I also have this great perspective and compassion
Hmm.
for everybody else's journey and
Hmm.
every other person's agency. And part of that is that I have had loved ones who have parted ways with the faith of my
Hmm.
upbringing, who have, gone their different ways and have different ideas and different beliefs. And I can honor what they are, where they're going and love them.
Hmm.
And I had one loved one who was like kind of worried about our relationship. And I said, my relationship with you is not dependent on your relationship with God or your relationship with the church. My
Hmm.
relationship with you is you and me.
Hmm.
And I really had to hold firm to that with every person I know who has
Hmm.
different beliefs from me. My relationship with each person in my life is dependent on how we connect with each other
Right.
and not how they connect with religion or spirituality or the
Mhm.
divine or anything like that. That's their journey to have. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And humor me if this feels aligned to consider and share your thoughts about this. Why do you think that is a struggle sometimes for, I'll say not just those of, who are raised in the LDS faith, but I think sometimes conservative faiths in general to hold space and to honor and recognize I have free agency, they have free agency, and we can coexist when those choices, those actions, words, whatever, aren't the same as mine.
Ooh. So I so the only way I can answer that is with kind of a little bit of speculation
Sure.
because I exist in a framework of agency is our greatest gift. And
Mhm.
I believe that my most sacred privilege in using my agency is to see others, um, to really see them
Mm,
and to love them. I believe that we all have divine light within us. Every human has light within them.
same.
And and I always pray every morning that I'll be able to see people the way God sees them, to see their light and
Mhm.
to be able to let them see mine. So I don't know for sure. I can't speak as an
Mhm.
expert on that, but I can say that the people in my life who hold so tightly to, oh, your beliefs are different and I'm worried about you.
Mhm.
That's where it's worry, it's fear, it's
Yeah.
if your beliefs don't align with my beliefs, then, oh, I'm afraid you won't get to heaven. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of fear about that. I had a friend who was of a different Christian denomination, and he worried about my soul because I did not see the Godhead as a Trinity the way he saw them. And so, since I did not have the same belief, the same vision, I wasn't going to go to heaven.
Mhm.
And I said, gosh, I think if our only ticket to heaven is the way we visualize what we can't see on this earth, that because we don't have that understanding, then we're all in trouble. I don't want to live that way. And so I believe in a loving God who understands that we are
Yeah.
humans who are having human perspective that's this big compared to the
Mhm.
universal perspective, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that a lot of people struggle with that belief system difference because they don't understand it. And so there's a fear
Mhm.
of what's going to happen with the soul or what path are you going to go down because now you've made this choice and now are you going to go and
Mhm.
blow your whole life, right? And there's this
Mhm.
fear and uh I think that that's really hard for a lot of people to have that fear of that or their experience with another person. This person did this exact same behavior and then they went this direction and now their
Yeah.
life's a mess and so because you're doing this one thing that they did, that's what's going to happen to your life. And I think that's actually keeping people small when we think that, but we also
Yeah.
have our own small perspective. Does that answer the question?
It- of course. I just really appreciate engaging in these types of discussions. It's the
Me
hard
too.
discussions sometimes that bring up uncomfortable feelings. That's where shifts are made. That's where perspective is broadened. That's where I believe that's the only place true change can really occur
Hmm.
is if we lean into those discussions that are maybe harder for us. I
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of what you said. I truly believe a lot of it is fear based and
Hmm.
worry based, just like what you said. And so while almost contradictory, it seems contradictory, right? That it might that actually might be coming from a place of love. It's just it's not driven by love. It's driven by
Hmm.
fear
Yeah.
and worry and those types of things. So I appreciate you being willing to share your experience and your perspective on that,
Thank you.
and how you have navigated it in your own personal relationships in your faith community and in your family and so on.
Yeah. And outside my faith community and in any community I'm in,
That's
right?
true.
Like,
I mean, for sure, those concepts definitely apply to political arenas and to a corporation or a business or,
yeah,
an educational
education.
institute. You're right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So two more questions, and it
Okay.
doesn't really matter which order, I suppose. If somebody were feeling, especially as maybe they've listened this month to some of these episodes, or maybe they've come across Kara in other ways, or maybe not at all, I don't know, but they feel like they might have a story that needs to be written, that needs to be recorded. And they're feeling that tug, and yet they're feeling hesitant, maybe, or why me? Or is that really the message I'm getting inside? Nah, that couldn't be true, right? What wisdom or what would you offer them?
So just start. If you feel that there is something you need to write, sit down and start writing. And honestly, I think that the best thing to do at first is probably just stream of consciousness write. Whatever thoughts come to your mind, don't go back and correct. Don't, if you don't put in
Mhm,
you know, just write and get those thoughts out because they need a space. Your heart,
mhm,
your thoughts, your feelings, they need space. And so when you write them, you're giving them space to breathe, right?
mhm,
And once you've done that stream of consciousness writing, I recommend you kind of walk away actually for a few minutes because there is this like energy that happens when you write and you write something important, something that is really vital to you. And there's this energy, and you need to kind of, I think, just like with anything where you have to reset your energy,
mhm.
writing, I think, can sometimes need that as well. And so,
Yes.
so walk away for 10 minutes and come back and then read it. And don't read it with the, if you can, I have a hard time with this. I have to add the punctuation and things because it's just part of who I am. But if you read it, then you can pick out the things, the main points that feel
Mhm,
like this needs to be developed into more. This needs to develop into more.
mhm,
And
mhm,
then you can start doing kind of your kind of chaptering or at least uh the parts that you need to expound on
mhm,
and then go back to those when you feel like you need to. And I think that the courage lies in trusting that even if you feel like you're not a good writer, you're not good at grammar, you're not good at whatever in the writing world, you have a message and your message is what's good
mhm,
and it can be developed. And don't worry about the punctuation and grammar and all of those things. That's what I'm here for. That's why I have a job.
mhm,
And also the things that feel like um I think most people are mostly scared about how it's going to be received by other people. And if you have a message that you need to write, that you need to get out to the world, then the people who need that message will receive it.
mhm. That is
And the
that is
people
well
who
said.
you're worried about the way they'll receive it, they're not really receiving it. They're just,
Mhm,
they have their own filter through
mhm,
life experiences that they're experiencing it with.
mhm.
But you have an audience that needs to receive it.
I love that. That is really well said. Yeah, those for whom it is meant will find and receive it. Yes,
Hmm. Yeah. So go, just write, get it, just get started.
I love that. So, the last question I have for you, I ask all of my guests, and it's reflective of my title of my podcast, and that is, what does living beyond the shadow of doubt mean to you, Mindy?
So for me, living beyond the shadow of doubt is really stepping into the light. I think of shadow as a shadow is just like what happens when light hits you, right? It
Mm-hmm.
develops from light. And so to me, it's seeking out and living into the light of life. Live into the light within you, live into the light within others, start seeing other people's light, their brilliance, their gifts, their who they really are. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't need to doubt necessarily the beliefs I have unless it is holding me back from the light. And
Mm,
if that's happening, then I do some inner work. I do some meditation and prayer,
mm,
and I work with my God
hmm.
to work through that. And
Yeah.
so living beyond the shadow of doubt is living to me in the light.
Mm. I really like how you explained that. You don't necessarily need to question or doubt a belief that you have unless it's keeping you from the light.
Yeah.
And I think that's key, keeping yourself connected to and in harmony with that light so you can tell and determine when it's perhaps off or out of alignment.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Mindy, thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate it. I'm going to throw out some for fun questions just for our
Okay.
guests to get to know you a little bit better. I'm just looking for 1 to 2 word answers. Just going to go through them real quick. So, tell us your
Okay.
favorite book if you have
My
one.
favorite, I, my favorite fiction is called The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley by Courtney Walsh.
Okay.
And my favorite nonfiction are all the ones I've edited.
That's great. That's awesome. Are you an introvert or extrovert?
I am wildly extroverted.
Yes, you are. And who's your favorite artist?
My grandmother. I have some of her paintings in my home. My dad's mom was, and his sister, my aunt, are my favorite artists.
Fantastic. Are you a night owl or a morning lark?
Neither. I have a 15-year-old son who sort of makes me a little bit of a night owl because I'm one of those moms who can't sleep if my child is not home yet. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and he is a night owl. Although during the week when I have work to do, I request that he's home earlier. And then I am a morning lark but I need 8 hours of sleep person. That's
Yeah.
who I am, which
Yes.
however that works out.
I feel that. Do you have a celebrity crush?
Chris Hemsworth. He
Why
is so
the
pretty
why the grimace of your face?
because he's so young, but he's so pretty.
Oh, that is awesome. I love that. Do you do still or carbonated water, or are you diet soda fan or some other beverage?
Still water. I just love water.
Mm-hmm.
I do add my caffeinated Crystal Light every once in a while when I'm really dragging. But other than that, mostly just water.
That's a good one to add. I do the same. And then, excuse me, finally, furthest place you've traveled.
Hawaii. So that will be changing this summer when I go to BVI.
Yes, to the author's island.
Yes. So excited.
Yes. I will leave links in the show notes for those who might be interested in finding out more about that to connect with Kira's team.
Yeah.
And also, if folks had questions for you personally, what would be the best way for them to contact you?
You can find me on Instagram at the THE _connection community.
Okay.
Also, I have an editing Instagram. It is luminous
Okay.
underscore book dot editor.
Okay.
And I am working on funnels and emails and all of those things. Those are coming. My connection community business is just brand new, still building. So, but a podcast will be forthcoming soon now that I have all of the equipment to do so.
Yay. Well, I will make sure to put all of that in the show notes so that folks can reference it there.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thanks again. It's been so much fun to get to know you a little bit more and share all of that with our listeners.
Thank you. And Megan, I'm so excited for your book and to start editing it.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Been,
so helpful to so many people.
yeah. I'm excited for it too. All the things, excited, nervous, but mostly excited. It's kind of been a long time in coming. So,
Yeah, and it is going to launch into the world and baby, it is going to be amazing.
yes,
So, yeah.
it's called Transparency for those of you who may not have listened to previous episodes. Spelled TRANSPARENTSEE, about my journey as a parent of a transgender kiddo. So it's very personal, very real, very raw. So,
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mindy. I'm sending you so much love. This has been great. I've loved it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on, and I'm so
Sure
excited
thing.
for the episode.
Me too. Writer, teacher, author, Mormon scholar, and founder of Dialogue Journal, Eugene England said, "My faith encourages my curiosity and awe. It thrusts me out into relationship with all creation and encourages me to enter into dialogue." As a proud member of the Dialogue Podcast Network, my hope is that Living Beyond the Shadow of Doubt podcast is an extension of that vision. Visit meganskidmorecoaching.com to find this podcast and additional free resources, including the link for a complimentary coaching session. Follow me on Facebook or Instagram for more, or to send me a DM. Help the podcast grow. Please follow, review, and share with a friend.